Good morning from Manchester, everybody. A good evening, a good afternoon, wherever you're watching in the world. This is Forever United TV. I'm Adam with your Saturday morning Manchester United news update. All of the news from on and off the pitch around your beloved Manchester United. And we have some big Victor Gyokeres news this morning, which is a definite go in terms of Victor Gyokeres. Usain Bolt has said he wants Gyokeres at Manchester United, so this deal is done. Of course, I'm only joking. I may touch on what Usain Bolt said. I don't really care, but a lot of people are talking about it this morning for some strange reason. Like, that's going to get everything finished and done. But no, look, it is all just watching Victor Gyokeres at the moment and what's happening with that transfer. We have got a big update regarding the situation around the agents and Sporting and the fallout there, which may have significant bearing on whether Manchester United even get their bid accepted. We'll talk about the details of that. Brian Mbeumo was hot topic last night. We have a big update on that one as well with him. Manchester United possibly in the market for a right wing back if the opportunity arises. There is a certain player over at Monaco that Manchester United have been linked with that has now got a price tag set on his head. Is it too high? We'll discuss that as always with all of the other transfer news which is doing the rounds. We didn't get a chance last night because we were so busy to talk about Matheus Cunha's interview at Manchester United. We may touch on a few of them quotes as well. I think Manchester United have already made the signing of the summer. In my opinion, you can gauge that obviously yourselves and where you think that transfer is actually at. But we'll touch on that along with all of your live comments in the show this morning and get through a good old chit chat regarding all of the news as well. Let me know your thoughts, everyone. Into the live chat you go. Give me your opinions on all of the topics we're on about today. We're going to get into detail on Victor Gyokeres and Brian Mbeumo. I want to talk about Mbeumo first of all, because this obviously was the talk of the town last night, particularly down there in North London when a few Spurs fans were getting a little bit excited. I did a separate video laughing off any news that Darren Lewis from the Daily Mirror would bring up regarding transfer matters at Manchester United and anything going on. He is not the go-to when it comes to what is happening with transfers. Great journalist, not on the transfer side of things. I can safely say that when that story came out, me personally was laughing it off. And it does look like it has been completely laughed off now as well. So just to keep you up to date with everything that is actually going on right now with Brian Mbeumo, there was an update last night, later last night actually, which came out. Rudy Galletti was talking about this. I think even Florian Plettenberg came out and was talking about this, which said Brian Mbeumo is not considering Tottenham at this stage. He gave his word to Manchester United with personal terms already close. He wants to wait for progress between United and Brentford. Only if talks collapse, Tottenham would be considered. So any options at all past Manchester United would only come about if United don't make this deal happen. Now, as we've been updating you constantly regarding Brian Mbeumo, the talks between United and Brentford have been going smoothly. There is no real issues at all. There might have been a play by Brentford just to swing Tottenham in here, but when a player has made his mind up, this makes all of the difference. It does not matter where different offers come in from, or what clubs come in for certain players in transfers. If the player has agreed to join a club, has turned down, like we said last night, the likes of Newcastle, Arsenal, also in better positions in the league and in the Champions League compared to United. If a player has made that much of a decision, that big a decision, then Spurs or someone like Spurs and that tiny club compared to Manchester United don't really stand a chance in all of this. And yeah, Brian Mbeumo would probably go to Spurs, maybe. I don't know if he'd go to Spurs ahead of Newcastle or Arsenal at this point, but it only happens if Manchester United don't get their agreement done. So that's, as we said before, with everything that's happening now, with all the talk of Brian Mbeumo, the contract talks, the agreement in principle on that, obviously already wrapped up. He's happy. He only wants to go to United. He's telling Brentford that. They know that. Manchester United is negotiating with Brentford now. We're coming to the back end of the normal negotiating period and getting this deal wrapped up. Nearly 2 weeks now for this. And I think everything is just in the right place and where it needs to be. And if we have got confirmation of a player wanting to join United and then 2 2 weeks later, him signing on the dotted line, then I think that's good business by Manchester United. And I've said this all along before. If United can wrap up Cunha and Mbeumo in the first month of the window and are then into negotiations regarding the striker that we need, then that is very quick. It is very, very efficient business for Manchester United. So, yes, all of the reports on Bryan Mbeumo last night pretty much were all leading to that article from Darren Lewis, which came out, but then was completely quashed later on by the situation with Bryan Mbeumo. It does look like he has spoken out. He looks like he has said again to anybody coming in or potential suitors that he is only going Manchester United. Any other option for Bryan Mbeumo would only come about if Manchester United's deal with Brentford collapses, which we know probably isn't. The second bid is thought to be being finalised and going in very soon. Maybe this has prompted Manchester United, like we also said last night, into getting this deal done now and moving forward. Other clubs are hovering around and other clubs are coming into the fray when it comes to the transfer window now, preparing for when July 1st kicks in, like we've always said. And then United now, right, okay, what do we need to do? A couple of million here and there. It is all down to, I'm just checking again and speaking to people that have been covering this, it is all down to, and the tiniest hold-up or whatever it is, or the main negotiation part of this Bryan Mbeumo deal right now, is that initial payment. That's where it's at. I think the add-ons are clear. Everything else, what everybody's talking about, no one's mentioned anything else recently from all reports that have come out that I've seen, that people have told me. There is confidence there. It's just all about the initial payment, how much Manchester United put down initially to Brentford, and then obviously the instalments follow in after that. So it's like putting down a deposit basically, isn't it? And then the instalments fall into place after that. That's where Manchester United's negotiations are at right now with Bryan Mbeumo, and I think an air of confidence that has always been there isn't going to change just because Spurs came in yesterday and made this a bold move, or somebody tried to tease this situation in. You'll notice that the first report on Bryan Mbeumo to Spurs came from somebody behind the scenes at Sky Sports. Then it was talked about on Sky Sports. Big links to Sky Sports is Darren Lewis. He does a show on there as well, and he's on Sky constantly. He really isn't the one, like I said, to go to when it comes to transfer news. There is a lot that he does know, and he's a good journalist, but not when it comes to transfers. And he's way off the mark with this one. It's basically a stab in the dark, like the report was a week ago when Spurs were talks about taking Frank, and the Mirror themselves made another story up regarding Thomas Frank now trying to persuade Bryan Mbeumo to go to Spurs and get Spurs to go in for him. Look, when a player's made up his mind, he's made up his mind. Bryan Mbeumo wants Manchester United. That's all there is to it. Until that deal's off, he doesn't care about anybody else. And that is where we're at with the Bryan Mbeumo situation. Completely up to date. And I feel now, like I said yesterday, I was confident yesterday. I didn't really have any concerns at all with Spurs or the reports or the alleged reports coming in about Spurs. I was confident all along, but now again, like more and more people have come out and just quash this completely. It is funny watching other clubs come in and try and stick their nose in and trying to get into Manchester United's business. But then again, it's not really the clubs. It's the journalists, it's the media, it's people trying to make something. You could say that there's someone at Spurs maybe who's just teased in a little bit of a story in there to try and ruffle a few feathers to see what happens. But it has been completely shut down. And that's what you would hope would happen with United. And again, I think for Ineos' sake and where the fan base is at right now, I think this deal just needs to get done and get over the line so everyone can settle. And then they haven't really got anybody to come in at them end with anything, because that's really good business from United. And it just sets the tone for the rest of this window in the summer, I think. Because I've said last night, like, we're not far away from pre-season starting now. If you think about it, Manchester United are about a month away from their first pre-season game against Leeds, which is, I think, the 19th of July. So what are we on today? 14th of June, yeah. Just over a month now until the first game. You'd expect United to have wanted at least a week and a half, 2 weeks of pre-season training back before we played that game. So if you break it down, we're 2 to 3 weeks away now from players coming back. And certain situations need to be sorted, I feel. So the chance to get deals done early in this window and actually players registered has definitely helped Manchester United. So I think this is why we are moving so quickly in this period. Let's get into the live chat on this and get your thoughts. How happy are you that you've seen the confirmation now? Was you ever worried that this was ever going to be in doubt? Not me. Let's see what we've got. Mbeumo has to happen. If it was to collapse, others would take one look and think we are a joke and turn elsewhere. Well, not really, because I see what you're saying with that, Steve, but honestly, if I was another player looking in and this deal collapsed, it would also say to me that Man United are not messing around. They're not going to be taken for a ride. They're not going to be cooked by anybody anymore, ripped off like we have done in the past. So you can say it both ways, really, can't you? Gareth says, what are you talking about? If United don't agree a deal with Brentford and Brentford accept another bid, he either goes to that club or stays at Brentford. Wanting United, not enough if no deal. Yes, Gareth, he's got 1 year left on his contract and he wants to go United. This is what happens, mate, I'm afraid. You can say what you want. Brentford have had other offers in. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He wants United. So the negotiations have to happen with United. It's as simple as that. He's not going to sign a new contract. They cannot afford to let him go for free. And that's where Brentford are at. That's the size of the club that they're at. There's only United at the table, mate, I'm afraid. So it does matter. And it is where we're at right now. We have to start selling from Monday. The Deadwood Dross needs to go. Don't take them on tour. Don't want them anywhere near the actual playing squad. That's the difficult situation we spoke about yesterday as well regarding the players that are coming back from loan and the issues at Manchester United right now, namely Garnacho, Sancho, Marcus Rashford, them three in particular. We could do with something being sorted on them, but it is far down the line at the moment, it would seem. Reports last night, quickly, just because I mentioned Garnacho then. A move to Bayer Leverkusen seems to be very unlikely, is the report coming from Germany right now. So Erik ten Hag taking Garnacho doesn't look like it's going to happen. So it may maybe Anthony down the line, but Garnacho looks like he's too expensive, even though they have just managed to get 126 million euros for Florian Wirtz. How a deal for Garnacho is not possible with the wages involved, I have no idea. But, hey, look, they do their business their way. That's all we can guess, really. Barry says, can we also accept that Kulusevski is better than Mbeumo, so Spurs don't need him? We, however, are fairly desperate for him. Oh, look, at the end of the day, I said this in a tweet yesterday. Can you see Daniel Levy breaking Spurs' wage structure, transfer record, to bring in a player that they've got Brennan Johnson and Kulusevski playing in that position? I don't think so. I know with squad depth, and everybody came back at me yesterday and said, yeah, but they need squad depth. What are you talking about, you idiot? Well, yeah, you need a keeper. You need a centre-back. You need a centre-forward. You don't need a player in a position where you've already got two of your best players in your squad in. Do you really think he's going to break a transfer record to bring in Mbeumo and play him there? Yeah, Mbeumo can play both sides, but ideally he's better on the right-hand side. That's where he's always played. And in a Thomas Frank system, if he's going to take over at Spurs, then he's already got cover there. So it doesn't really work out, whichever way you look at it, that deal. It's good. It was good to look at people getting stressed about it yesterday. Honestly, it was funny. Not good, but funny. Just to see people worrying a little bit because it was never going to happen. Let's see what else we've got in here quickly before we move on. Adam, we want to have all incomings ASAP, but do we have the budget for them without having outgoing sales? And if we need to wait until July 1st for outgoings, then will it harm pre-season prep? Everything's going to harm pre-season prep if Ruben doesn't get his players in. The word from United and what every single journalist has said is that he wants the deals done as quickly as possible. Manchester United are promptly moving forward with every deal that they can at the moment. And no, I'd still believe that United don't need to sell players before we bring the players in. Ideally, United would like to get players out. But if we're going to go for Gyokeres and the stage that we're at with him, we're going to move on to him next. If we're going to move on with Gyokeres and get this deal done, we cannot wait for deals to be done for players leaving Manchester United because there's nobody anywhere near ready yet. There's nobody at the same stage as where we're at with Victor Gyokeres coming in the out section for Manchester United right now. We know that there's movements. We talked last night about the potential move for Sancho to Aston Villa. That would be handy for Manchester United. Rashford's nowhere near leaving. Garnacho's got suitors, but there's nothing actually set in stone yet, talks-wise. Our contracts just fleeting talks and people touching base with Manchester United. Obviously, Anthony looks like the closest one with negotiations with Betis, but we know that they can't afford him. So, in reality, there isn't anybody Manchester United can sell right now that's going to help any of these deals that we're talking about in terms of just coming in, like the Mbeumo and Gyokeres. United are going to have to try and get business done, and then we're going to have to, obviously, make that up in sales later on. I don't know. There's a big incentive there's a big push from Manchester United structure not to go into the revolving credit facility. I don't know if they'll go into that initially just to try and make something happen, and then to obviously try and sell players and pay it straight back off. And maybe that could happen. I don't know. But they need to get these deals done because there's too many competitors in the market for the players that United want right now. And it is all about giving Ruben the players and then up to that recruitment team to get rid of the shit. That's, I think, is important. So moving on to Victor Gyokeres and where we're at with him. This got very, very complicated very quickly, as we know. But last night, it got even more complicated with everything that's going on. So I'm just going to read out the situation which has been reported regarding the agent of Victor Gyokeres. This has come from Portugal again. So, like I said, it's all over social media. It's all over the news, this. So I'm just going to read it out as it is there, and you make your mind up, because obviously Portuguese media is a different ball game, and we found that out a lot over the last week or so, haven't we? With certain stories that don't seem to be fully true. But the latest story to come out from Portugal regarding this tit for tat and situation developing between the agent and Sporting is Victor Gyokeres' agents included an optional clause in his contract that allows him to demand 10% of the fee if Sporting rejects a bid worth more than 51 million. If he ends up activating that clause this summer, Sporting have threatened to refuse to sell Gyokeres for anything less than 85 million. Now that's 85 million pounds, which equates to 100 million euros. This was the whole debate at the top. They wouldn't, in Sporting's claim, they wouldn't demand 100 million euros for Victor Gyokeres. They would let him go for less, was their claim. The agent has put something else in. So to break it down, if Sporting rejected an official bid for more than 51 million, apparently, keyword in this, Victor Gyokeres' agents is then paid 10% of the rejected bid. So, in other words, if somebody comes in with a bid for Gyokeres, which is more than 51 million, and Sporting reject it, he is due 10% of the rejected bid. It sounds absolutely ludicrous. And to be honest, I feel like there is an element of just not real in this there. There's an element in fake news for me in that one there. What club in their right mind is going to think that that is beneficial for them? What club is going to... Again, that you tell me in the chat. Do you feel like there is anything real in this at all? I don't think there is. I really don't think there is anything that could possibly be genuine in this. If it is, then they have got themselves stuck in a position here, Sporting, that it's basically an impossible situation for them to get what they want. But that again, if Sporting reject any bids over £51 million for Victor Gyokeres, which is approximately 60 million euros, which is the bid that everybody's in and around. So if anything gets rejected over that, which is probably going to be the bids right now, then you are going to be paying that agent 10% of the rejected bid value, which is absolutely ludicrous. And obviously, if the news is right this morning on this one as well, then they're going to end up paying this agent very, very quickly, because the reports are, these are coming out from the record, that Arsenal have made an opening bid of just over 55 million for Sporting for Victor Gyokeres. So the Arsenal opening bid, apparently, again, you believe these reports if you want to, Arsenal have made an opening bid of 46.8 million with a possible 8.5 in add-ons to Sporting for Victor Gyokeres. The clubs hovering around the news of the agent's valuation for Victor Gyokeres. I think Man United and Arsenal both feel like there is the real potential that this is genuine, and that's the price that Victor Gyokeres is going to be. If United come in with a similar bid or just higher, or an Arsenal bid in and around that mark, then it really is backing Sporting into a corner with this one. And it's going to be difficult for them to try and find a way out of this. But that's the news from last night. Manchester United's news last night and where we was up to regarding our bid for Victor Gyokeres was... Let me just get it now. Where was we? Yep, right. So our bid was apparently 60 million plus add-ons, and that's what we were talking about last night. Arsenal's is a lot less than Manchester United. So if these two reports are real, both teams have made a bid or making a bid, and Manchester United is higher. There's only one way this is going to go then, which is Manchester United end up winning this bid with Sporting. United have dealt with Sporting before. That's the better relationship. And if Arsenal have come in so low, then there's no chance that they're going to get them, surely. But look, Florian Plettenberg also said last night, Sporting have given Victor Gyokeres the assurances that he will be allowed to leave for 60 to 70 million euros this summer. That's what Plettenberg has said. I don't know if that has been misquoted. I don't know if that is him just talking about what's been reported already that we've spoken about. But there's a tweet that went out last night from Plettenberg that said that the assurance is there from Sporting that Victor Gyokeres can leave this summer between 60 and 70 million euros. That is completely different to what the president of Sporting came out with the other day. So I tend to look at the genuine side of things, which is the Sporting president coming out and talking and saying what he did the other day, rather than what Plettenberg has said there, because that could have been misquoted or lost in translation, what Plettenberg said. But it just sounds to me like he's quoting what's already been said, and I can't really take I can't take that seriously in terms of that being genuine, because it goes against everything what was being reported the other day from what the president said. So that again, I think is a long way off. But Manchester United, if they go in with their bid, you're looking at that being up there, and what Sporting kind of want, really. It's more than what the agent is asking for, and that should get the deal done. Romano in all of this has just said and kept it simple. The first thing to do is clarify Victor Gyokeres' exit price with Sporting after trouble with the president. That's it from Romano. So really, if you look and read between the lines of this transfer, the Romano and the big guns in the media world are just keeping their counsel at the moment. So they're trying to figure out what's actually going on, and clearly there isn't enough information out there. But the reports about Arsenal bidding, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if Man United's bid is true. All we do know is that there is a big complication with his agents, and it just seems to be getting worse. Should we be anywhere near this type of situation, really? Would you walk away with the complications in play right now? Or is Victor Gyokeres too important to Manchester United? We cannot back down now. He's too good a player to miss out on if the price is actually genuinely there for Victor Gyokeres, and this is a real deal. It's going to be a tough one. I'm going to come to the chat on that now. Would you walk away with the complications that are there right now, is what we're saying. That, I think, is something that a lot of people would probably say is the right thing to do. Super chat in from Gia says, I worry about Rashford and Sancho, how to get rid. I think we all do, mate. We all do. I'll touch on them again before the end of the show, just to completely go over what I was saying last night if anybody wasn't in the show. Thank you, everybody, for all the likes on the show that we've had this morning already. Well over 300, creeping up to 4. Let's get that over 500 likes. If you love the content, please give the video a like, everybody. Make sure you also hit that subscribe button. We're on the march. We want 90k before the start of the season, and we're almost at 85 already, which is massive. Thank you, everybody, for all your support, as always. Let's get into the comments on this one. Would you walk away with all these complications? Is it too much of a mess? Would you just say, look, right, okay, let's go and structure a deal for Hugo Ekitike? Yes, he looks more on a transfer fee, but with the wage package and everything, like I explained last night, it probably works out about the same PSR payment a year, go and get an Ekitike rather than Victor Gyokeres right now. That's how substantial the wages could be, difference-wise. It's mental. It really is. Like, for instance, someone broke down the transfer fee for Florian Wirtz over the whole contract. that he's got at Liverpool, the transfer fee, everything altogether. Just to give you an idea, he is on 350 to 375 grand a week wages. It's cost Liverpool upwards of 118 million quid. And everything together with the agent's fees works out approximately just over 200 million commitment from Liverpool. 200 million over the year of his contract. And that's for Liverpool. Costs them 40 million a season in PSR. So to break a British transfer record and pay someone one of the highest wages in the Premier League with agents' fees of 10% on top of that, it's £40 million a year. That should give you an idea of what we're working with right now and what PSR really means. That transfer fee for Florian Wirtz is 40 million, and you can make them signings if you are comfortably in and competing at the highest level. And that is Liverpool fighting for the Prem, being right up there, and being in the Champions League. The new gate receipts, the big revenues. If Manchester United are in the Champions League and competing at the top in the Premier League consistently like we used to do, then Manchester United could go out and break the British transfer record whenever they wanted, because United's revenues are absolutely enormous compared to everybody else's. We're just missing out right now because of Premier League placings and not being in the Champions League. That's where United are at. So you can imagine, like Victor Gyokeres, just break it down. Hugo Ekitike for approximately, let's just round it up to 80 million. That's some 30 odd million less than Florian Wirtz. His wages are going to be in and around the 150 grand a week mark. That's some 200 grand a week less than Florian Wirtz. And Florian Wirtz cost Liverpool, with the agent fees and everything, 40 million a year. Should we walk away from Gyokeres and all his drama and just go and get business done elsewhere? Or is Gyokeres that important to you? Do you reckon Ruben needs that player that knows his system? That's the question I'm asking. 60-70 million euros is not a big price. We should wrap this up if that is the case. And this again shows you that United do have the money in place to get this deal done. They do. They are trying to obviously make sure with the Brian Mbeumo situation at the moment, get the right price for them so they're paying the right payments. It's all about how much they're paying a year, because they know they're going to struggle to get players out the door. So they're being very careful with the money that they're doing. Obviously, this is going to have to be on the back of Ruben Amorim being successful this season. United need a minimum of European football, of any European football next season. Well, not any, but Europa League football needs to be a minimum for Ruben next year for Manchester United to start financing these better deals. Yes, we are going to be getting rid of Rashford. We're going to be getting rid of Sancho. We're going to be getting rid of Antony. If you bring in Gyokeres and Mbeumo and Cunha, and you're on less a year paying them players out, that's great. But we haven't sold Antony, we haven't sold Rashford, and we haven't sold Jadon Sancho yet. All three of them players are in discussions at the moment out of pure desperation to be loaned back out again, because nobody wants to buy them players. So Manchester United are stuck at the moment. And they have to make sure that any deal they do and any saving they can make can fit into our PSR turnaround. And I think if they feel like they can get Victor Gyokeres for 60 to 70 million euros, which is barely 60 million quid in total with everything paid, that's a deal that Manchester United, I feel, cannot really turn down. It's just got the complication of what's happening with Sporting and that agent right now, and what's the real price. I think Manchester United will go straight into Sporting and just say, look, what is the real deal? What's the price? I mean, if they are constantly talking to Sporting, like Romano said, then I think Manchester United, not pivoting away completely, still feel like they have got a great chance of getting this deal done, and it's affordable. United would have walked away if they thought that this deal was not affordable for Victor Gyokeres. I'm pretty certain that that is where Manchester United are at right now in negotiations anyway. And again, just to reiterate what I just said, it's important that you get the right package in place and the payments are affordable, because then when you look into the future and when you go fast forward at Manchester United, that then can be used as the standard. That needs to be the line that Manchester United have drawn. This is how much this player is on. This is the deal, basically. This is what we're going to pay. People saying just pay the money, get the deal done, go and pay whatever the club wants that want the player. You've got to back the manager. United can't operate like that anymore. We've done that before, and it's completely tripped us up to the point of where we are now, where we cannot sell players. Can you imagine the situation we've got with Sancho, Antony and Rashford down the line. Say something goes wrong with Mbeumo or Cunha, and their contracts right now, what they're on, none of them are on more than 200 grand a week wages. Manchester United have got a comfortable payment plan in place for them players. It would be a lot easier to sell them players later down the line. But United's all recruitment have got us stuck in this stupid position, ridiculous position, where these players are calling all the shots because there's no one else who's going to give them that money anywhere else in the world, and they don't want to drop their wage package. They feel like they earn that wage. They feel like they deserve that wage, and that's because of Man United, not the player. So we do need to be careful in the deals that we make now to make sure that going forward in the future, we're not tripped up like this again. This isn't just for the now. We need to make sure while doing the necessary business that Ruben needs, it's done right. And it's done so we can actually prosper later down the line as well. Because say we need to sell Mbeumo or Cunha later down the line when they're 29, 28, something like that, 4 or 5 years down the line, someone wants to buy them, it should be easy for Manchester United to move them players on. Like Casemiro now, we can't move Casemiro on because he was bought too late in his career on a stupid contract with stupid wages. And that, ultimately, is what United are trying to avoid. So we have to be careful. We cannot just go out and go, yeah, let's just pay it. We need to just pay this money. It's impossible for United to do that. It is. Let's get some more comments on this. Akash says, we need to surround him with better players so he develops. Whether he stays here longer term, I don't know. I'm not sure what that player is, actually. We need a central midfielder, 6 with pace. Casemiro is way too slow. He is. But again, like the midfield situation with Manchester United is all going to be determined off what deals we get for these forwards. So going out and blowing the budget, like I've said before, would give us no room to get a midfielder in. It would give us no room or money left in the bank to go out and buy a midfielder, a decent midfielder. So this is where we need to be careful. The deals need to be properly structured so we have got enough left. Honestly, there's so many areas of Manchester United's team that needs to be fixed. We cannot get it all done, but we can definitely get them front three players done. And if that is the main part of our window, then so be it. It does transform Manchester United's team, though. It does. And that will make a massive difference next season. Is that enough to get into the top 6? Only time will tell. It will. Let's see some more thoughts on this. Gricker in the chat says, whoever we sign, please God, no more mercenaries. Come to play for the badge rather than spend time on social media. Matthias Cunha is that player, isn't he? Did you hear what he was talking about yesterday? Me and my brother used to play on the gravel streets in Brazil, and we used to call the gravel streets Old Trafford. He loves Manchester United. He understood, and he said, I know it was a tough season last season, but that shows you where this club is in my heart. It shows you what I feel about this football club. We have bought one of the best performing attacking midfielders / forwards in the Premier League last season in the midst of our worst ever season, who loves this football club. And he's going to absolutely run. He sets Bruno Fernandes as the standard, like the passion. If you've got 2 of them players in your team, it starts to get it gets more infectious. If it's one man driving the standards and driving that passion like Bruno is, then you're going to struggle. Bring in 2, and then it changes a little bit. And then it's harder for the other players who aren't really on board with it to say no. The more players you bring in with the right attitude and the right professionalism and drive and desire, the better it is for the rest of the team, because then it's harder for them to ignore 2 players when it is for 1. And then you bring in another in Mbeumo, another player that will give absolutely everything and has said no to every other club because he wants to come to United. And you got 3 of them in there. You bring in that forward like Victor Gyokeres, and you're talking over a third of the starting lineup, and then it's nigh on impossible. You can add De Ligt to that situation and say that he is actually another one of these players. You've got so many then on the pitch. You're putting leaders and professionalism into the starting lineup. It's gonna definitely be, I feel, the difference for Manchester United going forward. That be said, remember that scene actually from the Wolves game when Matthias Cunha was rubbing Old Trafford's turf on his body in the warm-up? Did you see that clip? In the warm-up for the Wolves game towards the back end of last season, Matthias Cunha was caught, a video caught Matthias Cunha rubbing the Old Trafford turf and putting his hands through the grass and then rubbing it onto his body. This man loves Manchester United. This is the type of player that's going to transform this team. Absolutely transform Manchester United. I'm still buzzing that we've actually got him. I feel really lucky. I feel really lucky that we've got Matheus Cunha. Cunha is our best signing in years, but we just got lucky because he loves United and nothing that Ineos have done. A look at what others are doing. We signed only. We signed one only. It's worrying. Come on, James. You've really turned a positive into a negative there, mate. You got to think past that. Yeah, he loves the club, but we still had to try and get that deal done, and we got the deal done. We made him want to come to Manchester United as well. I get what you're saying, and I'm with you. Because he loves United. We are lucky. We are. But we still got that deal done. And we still need to give them credit for getting it done. And let's see, there's still time to go yet. Look, if we get Cunha done, we get Mbeumo in, nobody can say that that's bad business. I'm sorry. Nobody's going to convince me that there's a positive there, a negative there. Not a chance. I'm back. Adam, United fans upset about Cunha. Wake up. Leo, hello, mate. Hello. Hope you're doing well. I've got another one. Yeah, I missed Ant's super chat. Sorry, I was just trying to find that there. Then Gyokeres, a no for me. Drama and hassle. Osimhen, yes. Is Osimhen similar? He wants stupid wages. He wants ridiculous wages, mate. I get what you're saying. Is it Gyokeres that's the drama here? He's in the middle of this. He's just a player that turns up on the pitch and gives his all and gets the numbers. Is it him? We don't know. It looks like it's always the agent, and you know what my thoughts are on agents. It always is the bleeding agent, isn't it? Adam, agree with you on not paying stupid wages, but where would that leave your expectations for Amorim in case we don't get his preferred signings? No, the preferred signings don't have to be on stupid money. The preferred signings are on reasonable wages, and Manchester United will pay well. They're paying more than what Spurs, Arsenal and Newcastle have got to offer the likes of these players that we're bidding for right now. So it's not like we're not paying decent wages. We were just paying above and beyond wages before, just in pure desperation to get players in. We just can't go back to them days, I think, is more important. Just on what Christopher Michael said yesterday. I talked about this yesterday, but just to go over where we're at with the strikers in case you wasn't watching and you're catching up now. Hugo Ekitike isn't a hot topic yet, partly due to United's interest in Victor Gyokeres. Their pursuit of him is solid and intensive talks between United and the striker have already taken place. That's from Christopher Michael, journalist. That was the story that we was talking about yesterday. Just to go over that again and tell you exactly where we're at with Victor Gyokeres right now. Can we really blame him? Is there a drama there? Would you stay clear of the drama? Is it worth chasing him down? I think Ruben knows the quality in this player. I think honestly right now I think it's everything on Gyokeres. I really do think that he's going to be, for me, he's going to be the one that turns up at United. I think we'll get him. Gyokeres is the complete professional, says Ginge. So we're still paying a 5 back with average defenders as wing backs and a weak midfield. Yeah, Amorim will be gone by November. Sorry, Steve, again, full on the negative with that one. It was the goals that was the problem last season, and the window's 2 weeks old, my friend. 2 weeks old. We can still make more deals happen. Like I just said, United just have to be careful. So we've got money to spend elsewhere. We will be bringing other players in. Don't worry about that yet. Let's see what we've got here. Gyokeres has a contract to a big side. Of course, he's asking for silly money. I think he's going to want 250 minimum to come to us. He's going to be over 200 grand a week, Victor Gyokeres. It's natural that a player, and this is why United just need to get the deal done with Mbeumo and get that right deal done so they've got a bit of room to move on to the next target, which will be Victor Gyokeres. Can't wait to see our lineup next season. Get Gyokeres and Mbeumo in, then focus on a great number 8. I love this show. You surpass United. Can't stand, buddy. Nick, love that one, mate. Daz Sweets in the chat also says, I'm sure a lot of agents have accountants and finance degrees. If not, they have no business being one. They will have, and they'll know how to manipulate the system. Backed up by FIFA, of course, as well. So that, I think, is, again, something that I've always had an issue with, and always will, to be honest. They run the game, the agents. They run the game. Ask any owners. Graham Bailey with some stupid update there on Brian Mbeumo again. God's sake, man. This is just another one that's just come out. Those within football circles no longer see Brian Mbeumo as a certainty to join Manchester United this summer. The idea of staying in London is said to appeal to him. Yeah, sorry, mate. You're way off the mark there, Graham. Jesus. I mean, seriously? I trust the main players in play here. Brian Mbeumo is a Man United player. People just need to get a grip with it. Honestly, seriously, some journalists just jumping onto absolutely everything they possibly can. Oh my God, like, it's embarrassing sometimes. It is. We know that Brian Mbeumo has said no to Spurs now. We know that he said no to other clubs. If there was an appeal of staying in London, why are you not at Arsenal, mate? Again, it baffles me how some journalists come out with this crack. Things would have been much easier if we won the Europa League last season. The drama of this transfer window is a real tough battle. I'd like us to get Douglas Luiz next after the 9 is sorted. We could get Douglas Luiz very, very at a reasonable price. We could. We spoke about that yesterday. In fact, Douglas Luiz could come to Manchester United. There is talk on the wing-back situation also developing as well at Manchester United, and that's in the form of Vanderson, the right wing-back from Brazil. He's playing at Monaco at the moment. He would be reasonably cheap. He's in the realm of Roger Fernandez from Braga. Whether United go for a right wing-back or not, with Ahmad playing there, obviously you've got Dalot there as well. You've got, obviously, Kamasin and Mantato coming through the ranks. Are United desperately in need? Dorgu can play there as well. Yeah, we could say that we could get an improvement on all of them in terms of natural right wing-back, but that's going to cost money. Do United go down the cheap road? Vanderson would cost Manchester United approximately, 20 to 25 million. Another player that Manchester United could bring in pretty cheap. So if you go all out and get your top 3 forwards, and Mbeumo, Cunha and Gyokeres, and then you could get, or then you could go and get 30 to 20 million pound midfielders and right wing backs to see you through this season. And I say that, I'm not saying that like just go out and buy a 30 million pound player. Like, he's still going to be on wages. You still got to pay for him. You cannot just use him for one season. I get what you would come back at me there with that one, but still, like, Douglas Luiz would be a player that would probably be replacing Casemiro next summer if we bought him this summer. You get what I mean? Because we'll be going into Europe, hopefully. Casemiro will be leaving on a free anyway, so there's Douglas Luiz filling that position. So you've then got Luiz, Ugarte and Bruno, Collier, Mainu, maybe. But then next summer, when you've got a bigger budget, you go out and buy your first choice number 8. So you see what I mean? Douglas Luiz would be a sensible signing for Manchester United at the price that he's being quoted at. If he comes in, then obviously we've got him, Casemiro, Bruno and Ugarte to mix it up. A natural midfielder this season. It's not ideal, but it's still better than what we've got now. And then when Casemiro leaves, you move around. Luiz moves across into Casemiro's position, and then you've got one spot to fill, which would be your 70 to 80 million pound central midfielder that you're going to have to go out and get next summer. You see, there's always a way around the business of this transfer window for Manchester United. Leo in the super chat again, mate. Thank you. Adam, cast your mind back when we messed up Haaland and Kane deals. How did that go? That had nothing to do with a football structure, mate. That had everything to do with Manchester United numpties who weren't qualified to do their jobs, not listening to scouts. Now, back then, Man United fans used to slag off the scouts to high hell all the time. But really, when we found out that it was the hierarchy at Manchester United, the people at the top that were turning the scouts down and all their reports down, that, I think, changed everybody's mind. Kane and Haaland have got nothing to do with what we're doing right now, mate. Thanks for the super chat, Leo. But on that, it definitely looks, to me, like a completely different setup now at Manchester United, and we're not going to get that scenario again. It's a difficult one to compare there with that. Love the 8 o'clock show. It gets your United fix nice and early. It sets you up for the day. It sets you up for the day, mate. That's what it does, Chris. Thank you for that comment as well, mate. Everybody's loving the morning show. Please pop a like on the video as well, everyone, if you are loving the morning show. We're creeping up to that 700 live like mark. Around 3,000 in the room with us as well. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I keep you fully up to date with all of the news. We do go through the news as it is breaking live as well, everyone. So you're completely up to date. I'm just going to do a quick run around again to make sure that nothing has been missed. Because there is news breaking like literally every single minute at the moment. Anyone for Vanderson from Monaco? Right wing back. Should we be investing in a right wing back? Let's just see. Again, just reading into that report that Graham Bailey's just come out with. I mean, honestly, Graham Bailey has not been right about much recently. He really hasn't. And when he says this again, Manchester United are confident in winning the race to sign Brian Mbeumo despite interest from Tottenham. However, there is clearly a belief that Spurs that they can get him, with some in football thinking Mbeumo might prefer to stay in London. He's so far behind. Oh my God, that's from yesterday. He's so far behind with everything. Spurs have got Tyler Diblin and Antoine Semenyo on their target list ahead of Brian Mbeumo. Like we said yesterday, there is nobody of any significance talking about Brian Mbeumo going to Spurs. He prefers Manchester United. I'm sorry. United would not go this far into discussions and thinking that Brian Mbeumo was going to just run away to some other club because we're taking our time making sure that the structure of this deal is right. It's not going to happen. Again, I'll knock that one straight back down again and laugh it off. It is funny. It really is. Let's get into some more of your comments quickly on everything. Ahmad clearly going to play right wing back with Dalot depending on the game. I agree with Carl on that one. I think that's going to be United's setup next season, 100%. I cannot see it being any other way unless United do find the money from somewhere to go out and buy a right wing back. But then again, Ahmad wouldn't be playing game after game. I think Ruben wants to mould Ahmad into a wing back. I do. He likes his wing backs to be attacking players. And trust me on this, like Ahmad has got a bit to learn on the defensive side, but I watched him last season and his work rate off the ball that you sometimes might not see on camera at Old Trafford is, honestly, he puts a shift in. And his defensive capabilities are not that bad. They really aren't. But the system isn't solely dependent on them wing-backs being fully defensive players. Amrim's system is attacking wing-backs. And they have to have that attacking intent. There has to be a certain profile. I think he believes Ahmad is definitely a Manchester United wing-back next season. I really do. I think that's what he's looking at. And I don't think United need to go out and spend any money. If you are, say for instance, you had another £50 million to spend after the number 9 comes in. So you've got 3 players in. You're going to bring one more player and you've got 50 million. I wouldn't be going out and splitting that between a right wing back and the central midfielder. Worst case scenario for me, I'd be going, right, let's get Douglas Luiz in, 30 million or whatever, and then go and get a goalkeeper with the rest of that. And that would be my 5 players. Because you can get a goalkeeper at a reasonable price. You can get Emi Martinez for 25 million. You go out and get Emi Martinez for 25 million. That's where I would go. Or you would spend it all on Edison and get that midfielder in. Juventus are now hovering around Edison from Atalanta, by the way. That came out from Damasio last night. I did have to translate on his website to find out what was being said. I just seen him talking about it, and I thought, you know what, let's see what's saying here. But yes, Juventus are now in for Edison. That is one of their top targets now. So, again, he hasn't gone anywhere yet, and obviously we're going to have to wait, I think, until July comes about to find out what's happening with Edison. But I do think Manchester United are there and thereabouts, but it is going to come back down to what happens regarding the amount of money that Manchester United have got to spend on a midfielder. Adam Gyokeres wants to come to United, but United can't pay daft money if he wants to come to United. Pete, yeah, got it, Pete. I know, mate. United will not pay over the top. They will not pay over the top for him. Definitely right on that one, Pete, buddy. They've got to make it right. They can't just go out and do these stupid signings anymore. We've talked about this. Jack, welcome to the Members Club, my friend. Love that. Almost at them 700 live likes as well, everyone. Thank you so much. Let's get a few more comments in. Nonsense. Most of his best performances were at right wing back last season. He is definitely going to be our right wing back this season. Look, if you're bringing in Mbeumo and you're bringing in Cunha, you're definitely going to play them. You haven't got the rotation of European football. Ahmad is going to be a right wing back, whether you like it or not, because you're not going to go out and spend 130 million, which is near enough what it is for Mbeumo and Cunha put together, and not play them. Like, Bruno's going to drop into midfield. The Bruno starts in 10 ahead of Ahmad as well, doesn't he? And you've got Mount, who can't play at right wing back. You've got to use him. And so effectively, what you're looking at here is you've got Xerxes, Mount, Mbeumo, Cunha, 4 10s. You need a striker, which is going to be hopefully Gyokeres. Then that's backed up by maybe Rasmus if he's not sold, and Chido. And then you're looking at the right wing back's position there, and he's next. If anybody else is going to be into that number 10 position, I feel it's probably going to be Bruno at some point. It's going to be really interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see what positions players are actually in going into the new season anyway. Super chat in from Ant again. Thank you, Ant. Love that. Rios is almost a free hit at 20-25 mil. I know. There are a few players out there, but I'm sure Manchester United are looking at them as well. But I think it is necessary for Manchester United to be trying to get the big deals done first, and then we move on to everything else. And that is where we're at. That is your update, everybody. More to come, obviously. Stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button, please, everyone, and you will be fully up to date when the news breaks, because when the news breaks, we will be live, we will be covering it, and you will know exactly what's going on. We'll go through everything that is reported. Please pop a like on the video on your way out. Everybody, thank you, mods in the chat, for helping out as always. Absolutely brilliant job. Give me your thoughts on all of them players, please, everyone. On Mbeumo, on Gyokeres and their situations, Vanderson, Douglas Luiz. Do we need a right wing back? Ahmad at right wing back. Where would you go with all of that? Talk to me in the chat, everyone, once this video is finished. And